Test. Okay. This is reading the script for my mocap video that I was supposed to make forever ago, so I'm just going to make that now. Okay, Hello there everyone! Today I am coming to you with something a little different than usual. I wanted to start off by saying I love FNAF. You can probably tell. And I've thoroughly enjoyed sharing my experience playing fan games myself for the first time, as someone who's been watching FNAF videos ever since the very beginning, despite, I still love it. And I will indeed continue to do it. But there are other kinds of things that are FNAF and generally horror-related things that I'd like to talk about, such as today's topic, performance capture, otherwise known as motion capture. And as a mocap student myself, this is something I really wanted to research. So if you're interested, you're in the right place. What is it? Well, I certainly know what it is, and I'm sure many of you do too. But the official definition, according to Britannica, is the process used to translate physical movement in three-dimensional space into a digitized and tracked computer format. It's wordy, but not too complicated to understand. Personally, if I were to explain it, I would explain it as the thing where people act while wearing a suit with dots on it that's recorded and later animated over it. Also, if you've ever seen the sick headgear they wear, that's for face capture. Their faces look so silly on the camera. Okay, you probably do know what it is, yeah? Well, I bet you didn't know that there's a difference between mocap and Pcap. In simple terms, the first is just the movement part. The second is a combination of movement and voice. I'm no expert quite yet, but I do believe the voice lines can be recorded either separately or at the same time as the movement. Now, I hear you tech nerds. That's nice and all, but how does it actually work? I may love technology, but some stuff is honestly just beyond me. Bear with me here. There are several methods I'm sure I could go into, but the two most common are passive marker system and an active marker system. With a PMS, the balls in the suit reflect light to the cameras around the studio. It can capture large numbers of markers at frame rates around 120 to 160 FPS. AMS is essentially the same idea, except the suit has LEDs, so light is produced rather than reflected. The distances and volumes for capture are greater. After the acting part, well, then comes the animating part. Okay, this hurts my brain. What the hell? So I don't exactly understand the animation process, so if I sound stupid, yeah. Or if you do understand it, spit your knowledge down in the comments. I'm really curious. Anyways, from what I've gathered, the animators use a software to create a skeleton, track the movements, and ensure there are no issues such as clipping. There's just so much involved in this process that I really can't comprehend myself, and even if I could, that could probably be its own video. So, mocap is something you see a lot more often now, and if you're like me, you're wondering where the hell did it come from? It seems like it would be fairly recent, but its origins actually date back pretty far, like way far back actually, like before I was born and probably before any of you were born, because I don't think any of you watching this are that old. Its early stages were actually around the 1920s. Isn't that crazy? That's like a really long time ago. Well, it wasn't even close to what we have now. It started with rotoscoping. I mean, kind of like, if you can even consider that mocap, I guess you could say rotoscoping is to mocap what Tennis for Two is to video games. To be or not to be. You can decide that in the comments. If we fast forward to the 50s and 60s, we get what was pretty much the beginning of mocap as we know it today. First mocap suit was created by animator Lee Harrison III. Animac, or originally called the bone generator, connected straight lines that could be animated individually. It was displayed on a cathode ray tube, which is the display tech that those old box TVs use. The figures were known as cathode ray marionettes, and it was made up of bones, skin, joints, wrinkles, eyes, and moving lips. Similarly to how mocap animation is today, the figure starts out as a skeleton of sorts, just like a human being. The next layer is the skin, then a mouth, lips, and the eyes are created. The character is manipulated in 3D by passing the control signals through a 3D rotation matrix. Don't ask me what that means. Their creation involves some very mathematical stuff. I'll leave my sources in the description if you're interested, because, once again, that's not something I can explain. I'm certainly no mathematician, nor am I interested in becoming one. Some of these early examples include the Stickman from 1967, and Beautiful Noise from 1968. And they're kind of disturbing, I'll admit, but impressive nonetheless. I will leave a playlist of Animec demos in the description courtesy of this YouTube channel. In the 1980s, SFU's Tom Calvert, kinesiology and computer science professor, studied knee flexion and extension, which eventually led to the development of a graphical marionette at MIT. This marionette was created using LEDs attached to a bodysuit, like what we have today. The software OpEye was used to capture the actor's movements, later rendered in 2D. Mocap as we know it today came from the 2000s. More and more advancements were made as time went on, but if you're like me, your earliest exposure to it might have been the Polar Express, which, as a kid, maybe it seemed slightly freaky, but, Personally, my interest in mocap comes from video games. If you don't know me already, you'll get to know how much I love Resident Evil as a series. Trust. If you consider rotoscoping to be the earliest form of mocap, then technically the first use of it in a game would be Prince of Persia in 1989 for the Apple II. Otherwise, the first uses of motion capture can be traced back to Rise of the Robots and Virtua Fighter 2 in 1994. Rise of the Robots was originally created for the Commodore Amiga and ported for the SNES, Mega Drive, and 3DO. Virtua Fighter 2 was released in the arcade in 1994 and for the Sega Saturn in 1995. There are plenty of game series you may know and love that have used this technology, such as Devil May Cry, Red Dead Redemption, The Last of Us, Silent Hill, and of course, Resident Evil. Speaking from my own experiences as a gamer, mocap can make a game feel much more immersive and consequently and quite obviously more realistic. With games that use this technology in current day, using more insane graphics than ever seen before, the fluid movements and facial expressions make characters come to life more than ever. It feels like you could very much be in a real world with real people, even if the things they do are quite unrealistic. After several hours of research, I can say for certain that there are things that were new to me about mocap. I myself am an actor, and I've done a little bit of mocap training in school. I didn't get to wear the suit, it was more about learning the fundamentals. So I've gained a good understanding of the acting aspect in recent months. Besides that, I had limited knowledge of the technology itself and where it came from. Learning about the different types of mocap technology and how they work has broadened my understanding of mocap as a whole, and I do think that understanding the different parts of it may prove handy for me in the future. I also love history, so researching how it came to be was really cool. It's helped me realize that people at the time have done things that were so much more advanced than we ever give them credit for. We can compare games today to games from the past all we want, and make fun of the poor graphics and all that, but we can't deny that it was because of all these past advancements that we have, well, what we have today. Thank you so much for watching. I'd like to do more videos like this here and there alongside my usual playthrough content because what's stopping me? What's stopping me from making tons of videos I really enjoy to get 3 views? Nothing! Okay, enough.